Whoops. 4. There we go. Okay. Oh, I forgot to share my screen. Hopefully that's working. Test. Okay. I believe I am live and sharing. Hopefully. I noticed there's something wrong with my mic. This is really annoying. Test, test. Audio is working. Oh, you can hear me? Okay. Yeah, the app is not showing that my mic is working, but if you can hear me, that's good. Okay. Let's see. Which game is yours? I can start with yours. The Dave versus Darth? Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Don't be shy. So normally we don't play this joysticky nowadays because, well, one, White doesn't actually need to respond, but two, um, there's a lot better results that you can get. This is actually fine for the most part, but it's usually not played nowadays when you can attach, you can tanuki. There's also just the idea that you have 2, 3, 4s, so you're going to want to enclose one of them this way. Because now when you play this one, there's a possibility that White just takes this now. And White gets to split the side, and now Black is actually low on the bottom. So you do need to think about overall board position and how your stones are connected to each other. So in this case, I probably want to play high, just because I already have a low stone here. You can play this one too, but I would also recommend just pinstringing, simply because the direction going to the left on the bottom is not ideal for either player, considering we've played this Joseki out in the bottom left. This is fine. A lot of Dawn players are going to say that this particular move is not that great. There's a lot of issues with it, especially with your opponent playing here, and if you play away, what'll happen is you'll get something like this, and if you don't answer correctly, you'll end up in a position where you get this, and then Black is going to be able to bump. If you play this way, you give your opponent extra strength, and if you try to drop down, you run into this particular fighting variation, which I'm not fully aware of it, but I do know that your opponent can double Hane and then you have to answer. So like you're basically giving them an extra stone. Whereas you get a much higher position when you play high, and then if your opponent does come in, we're not really worried about it. Simply because even if our opponent goes this route, they take territory, but the thing is that we have this large wall that has a lot of influence towards the center. And if we compare that with, maybe not that one, the more common variation here. So if we compare this with this, we want to be on the outside. Whereas there's more Aji with this one. Later, black can play here, and if you take, they can take away the one stone. Normally the move is here, so if we play this one, we end up in this position where white grabs the stone. And if we play here, it's very similar, but now there's a false eye. The other one had a false eye too, but white probably won't care about the two stones. So enough about the low. It's playable at almost all levels. Just knowing the weaknesses that you have with those is important. Okay, so we got the large nice move, taking the right side. That's good. Or taking away the extension from the right side. I can accept that. And splitting. Usually, splitting is that the most important. I think going for the center is not going to be ideal. I would rather do any sort of shoulder hit or approach on the top side. There's also the one space jump here. Making the bottom side bigger somehow is going to be ideal. So uh, one of these is going to be good. And if I consider that I want to make the bottom side is bigger, we have to invest two to three more stones, probably five. So we're looking at something like the triangle, one of the squares, and D7. In that case, the bottom side is a lot harder to make anything out of. So we're probably looking at one of the two moves on the top side where R12 is an idea, but it's not. It's probably not the correct move simply because the opponent still can Tanuki or they can add a stone, and we're not really building the right side. But if the opponent responds, it's probably okay. So I would pick one of these two moves. Splitting down the center, you don't really have a base on either side, so you're giving white an attack target. It's not really an ideal way of playing. And because of the situation on the bottom side, I'm more tempted to make sure that the top left is solid territory. There's there is some shenanigans with this, but since we've added the one stone, we can go for the kill in this group. The issue being is if we play normally, we run into this, but this should die. We're not super worried about the Hane on the outside because we have a helping stone. The only issue is that we run into positions like this, where the opponent can make some forcing moves by attaching. So the opponent played this way. We peeped on the bottom. This is normal. Grabbing strength. The opponent didn't answer. Normal move here is to extend. And then white's going to get the first move. I imagine white can play here, or you can continue playing this way. Eventually, black needs to add a move in the center, whether white forces it or not. Those two stones are in trouble. I would consider taking this trade. And the reason being is potentially we can make it on the larger side. But also, if you consider if you consider the position right, we were low. Our opponent gave us a stone to go higher, and these stones need to run into the center. This is going into the center, and now we have a potential way to make the bottom larger. That's my thought. Simply because we already played a stone on the top side too. So like, I don't necessarily want to continue saving the one stone. We're already really low, and it's not like the one stone's really that big at this point. Okay, we're continuing on all sides. This is a big mistake. First of all, we're allowing the opponent to get the first move against our stone, but also if we continue to just push, even if the opponent jumps out, we can lean on the right side to make the stick an attack target. If they drop down, they don't have a base, so we can attack it. And second, we can also Hane on top. So the biggest base that white can really get is by attaching. But if they attach, we can Hane and then connect under. If they try to take the corner, that's something that they could try. Um, but you can do it this way, and you can force them to capture one stone. If they play this way, it's easy to surround them, so like they can get a small living group, but that means that we have a lot of influence on the outside that we can use. And now, like, because we have stones on both sides, the corner is actually something that black can invade. But like this, it's similar, but it's like you've decided that when my opponent plays down, I'm going to take a base, whereas I would have preferred to have a stone here that's attacking. So now, when my opponent comes out like this, so the white would have played here. We jump out, and then we can play another move and force them to continue. I don't think I would want to play this one. It's too high. So eventually, black does get to play it. So in this case, white should probably consider not extending again, and should play a move that allows the group to continue running. One way is to take away the dog's face. So if they do come out like with something like this, you're happy either giving up a stone or continuing to make a large enough base. And this is more natural. So even if the opponent were to play the Hane, our group isn't going to die because we can make space on both the top side and in the center. And if the opponent plays here, we can just jump. We're making good shape. Instead, we extend it again, but the extension has no real value, so we probably do need to jump at this point. And we can do this because if the opponent cuts, we can net. If they play here, we can always attach. If they Hane, then we probably do need to connect. But we do need to do something other than just jump to protect the peep. Otherwise, black will get good shape. Okay, we got the turn. That's fine. Peep is not necessary. I would just continue to push. But also at the same time, when you're pushing your weak group into other weak groups, you're basically merging them, right? So even though you're getting some center stuff, you haven't effectively done anything. You're making your opponent stronger, but then you're also at the same time making your opponent stronger, but you haven't gained anything, right? So we're playing in Dame. There's no points to be had here, whereas black is getting points here. They're effectively connecting their group here. There's Aji on the right side for black. Black is making the top right thicker with 2 extra stones. And all we did was split, right? So in this case, instead of I mean, going down is fine, but eventually we do need to add stones here. So in the actual game, we turned, we peeped. Peep is no good, especially if you just Tanuki. It would have been better if you Tanuki directly. I guess connecting is fine. Ignoring this seems a little criminal. Like you're allowing the opponent to break your shape, but like once I clamp here, what do you get? Right? I'm now living with my stick. I've reduced the corner, and you're trying to make something in the center, but in order to close the center, you need to fill this gap to make points. So this is a gain for black. Black played the wrong move. You should clamp. Clamp is better. The Hane kind of just makes... You can play this, but it's hard to make something of the corner. Especially when you need to play this way. I guess eventually you can make this trade. But white can also play like this. So it's hard. We extend it out. I don't know if extending is needed. You're technically alive, right? So I would either jump or play something like this. I think jumping is going to be bigger. It has a bigger impact on the entire board. You're breaking into the center. White can't cut through, so you can play here. And if white does play this, you can always push and then Hane, so this group is alive. So there's multiple ways for the black group to handle itself. And then white got to fix the right side. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but I think attacking the right side would have been a good idea too. So for example, something like this. So the opponent plays like this. They need to come back and fix. And locally, the white group is not fully alive, so if they jump out, they either need to add a move or they need to run. So this gives you an opportunity to continue with the center attack. The Hane stuff is interesting. I didn't look at it earlier, but there's the double Hane. So once black has more stones here, it might be ideal for black to actually double Hane to put more pressure on the group. So instead, white got to fix, and they went into the center. So here, this is something that happens in a lot of Q games. We have a thick. It's not thick in the sense that it's alive. It's thick that it's not easy to attack. So we really don't need to add a stone to save them because one, we're strong here, we're strong here. So if the opponent tries coming in to split the group, we want to look at the ability to, like, while we're running, to be able to split black when they're attacking, right? Eventually we want to be able to play something like this. Whereas when we play here, you've done the dirty work and black is happy to take points on the bottom. If I had to make an assessment, I think black, it's hard to say. I think the game is more or less even. White has more efficient moves, but black also has a lot of territory. So I think depending on what black plays next, like they could be winning. Center is not that large. I would not play this at all. I would want to focus on attacking my opponent's shape here. Probably even play something like this, so when they turn, I can go ahead and cut. It's likely they won't, so we'll probably see something like this. And I think we need to play here to live. And white will get some moves in the center, but it's going to be like we stole the corner, this group now needs to live, and these two groups are basically going to merge, depending on how the fight goes. Whereas the center is like, you have a lot of ways of going in. You jumped in now, but now you've given white the extension, so all the territory you could have had on the bottom is now smaller. White went for the crude cut. I approve. So we lost the stone, unfortunately. If we just extend, can we handle this? I feel like the answer is yes. So even if the opponent plays like this, we can kill the one stone, right? So we just need to extend. Potentially the opponent plays like this, and then we just need to fix. Probably just connect. I don't think we need to give out the one stone. But getting Sente is nice, so that's fine too. Don't need to answer that. It's already big enough to play here, right? White's not going to Tanuki this. I think well, I mean, white could, but I don't know if this is necessary. At least I would answer here, because the kicking, yeah, you had to answer everything white played. If the follow-up is all Sente, then like you didn't really gain anything. This is definitely not Sente. You should consider something else. Like, if white wants to push, they can. It's not good endgame at this point, and this isn't a move that works either. If they want to capture a few points and then you get another Sente, that's fine too. So the moves in the top right definitely didn't need to answer all of them. It's better to play something like this. So now you've gotten a little bit more. They're kind of forced to answer. Whereas here, later white can still just Hane. Yeah, the center is actually pretty big, but no one's going for the corner. The corner is so big, guys. This block is huge. If we bump, that's also kind of huge. If the opponent extends, so we can block. Corner is really, really large. No one's playing in it. We don't need to answer this. So, like, the thing about the large monkey jump and then the one space jump back is that we don't need to come back and answer it. We come back and save the one stone when it's big enough. Here, definitely not as big as the corner. So early endgame game. Oh, we keep answering everything. Black is going to live like this. I don't know why black played there. If you just give up the stone, how do we die? Well, one thing is we can turn, we can remove potentially eye space, but it is kind of true that we're not fully alive. So it's not that great, but I don't like this move. This move doesn't do anything for me. And I want to play this one. So we can focus on something like this. And then here, this is going to be also alive. So potentially we need to play this one, but it comes back to here. Black missed an opportunity to just play this into here. And the question is, can we survive this? If white extends, we're able to connect up. If white cuts, we're alive because this is going to be a liberty race. There's no way for white to cut through. So what if white plays here? Well, now we have the ladder, so white can't actually cut. If white tries to prep it with this, we still have the same thing, but there's a difference. We don't have this particular ladder. So we would need to try to break out another way. I'm going to play this one. And then play here. So if they double Hane, connect, and then extend. It is troublesome when white plays there. In that case, we probably shouldn't have played after white played the G18 stone. It would have been much better if we just played there directly. So it would have been way better to just play here directly. If black blocks, we can forcibly capture the stone, and locally, this group cannot live in the corner. Yeah, white is fully alive. White got a very much larger corner than they should have. So I think white is winning at this point. They also got to play S10 when we could have attached at S10 and then backed off, right? So if we reconstruct the game from a different point of view, so we had something like this. I'm not going to reconstruct the top left, but potentially white would have had to play somewhere else. This is huge. And we blocked it too, so it's white Sente. This is probably going to be slightly bigger, even if the opponent gets to play like this. I think it's fine. Okay. I think it. I don't know who won this game, but my feeling is white has enough. Black got a lot. Okay, so the Panuki on the bottom is big. Black is winning. Really, even after this. No, white's winning. White is definitely winning here. In that case, white made mistakes here. Definitely need to block in the center somehow. This really, you can play here, but like the most important part is like we shouldn't end in Gote like this. It's not. It's really not important to block here. It's one stone. The center is absolutely going to be larger than black playing here. If you're worried about black saving the one stone, you shouldn't be. There's almost absolutely no reason for them to be able to. Right, so like this, they can get it, that's fine, but giving them Sente to break into here was not good. Okay. It's a relatively close game in endgame. Black probably had a very large advantage because the open corner, but never playing in the corner probably didn't help. So white gets to like enter the endgame with a very large advantage. But we kind of blow it, and I think black, for the most part, plays proper, playing good moves. So, if you have any questions about the game, feel free to ask now. Okay, we'll go ahead and gotcha. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is interesting. It does make it slightly difficult to consider, where to play. I would actually consider just continuing to build. Whereas, like, you're admitting by playing here that white has the larger side, and so you need to immediately stop building and split. But if I'm doing that, I don't want to split at all. And if my opponent plays like this, I'm very happy to consider this position. Start playing like this. We bumped. This is probably one of the times where if white tries playing this, it's actually not that good. White is forced to play this way, and they're splitting their group while trying to kill a group that honestly they need to surround first to try and kill. And this group is going to live while white has to deal with the split group. And then we came up. I would imagine that the game would probably go something like this, and then white needs to play on top. Or split, one of the two. If they continue down this path, they can make a wall, but it hurts the corner. Generally, just one of these is enough. And then they can try something like this, but our bottom group is alive, right? So we're not really worried about being surrounded when we can take a large point. And if white takes a large point later, this turn kind of destroys any potential they have, and we can also play a very large move around. In the actual game, white splits. I don't like this. I would probably extend from this corner. This way I can play here, but if you're looking for a double wing, that's fine. Jump. In this case, you could actually do something similar, where you give the opponent like this, and then you come back and play here. Probably don't need to play 11. That's actually a bad move. No need to make the opponent stronger than they already are. If they play here and capture a stone, you can just break the liberty, or not the liberty, break the ladder, and you can extend the side, right? If they play here, you can also just go for the side. Right? Both players are playing for large areas, but I think black is slightly better. It's a good move. Normally we'd see the follow-up simply because it'd be Aji if you don't. Like, you want to make the exchange. I do not think that this particular move is good. I think you should just take the side. There's nothing of real value. If you're going to approach the corner, maybe just go all the way. So if they connect, you can play here. And this one, I'd either jump or pincer. Normal sequence is to play like this, so now our group on the right side is perfectly good. We've reduced the ability for them to make a large area. We should now focus on the right side and allow these stones to be essentially attacked. Like, if the opponent wants to play this way, that's fine. You know, let them take one stone type of thing. You have a lot of options when you play this way. If you give up the one stone on the top side, I think this is a little bit more trickier. But it's definitely possible if you want to play a ko. Whereas if they hane on top, it's really easy. Yeah. Pushing from behind, getting hane at the head of two stones, that's not ideal either. Black can fortify this, and even if you get this type of position, you've seriously weakened yourself in the center by creating this type of position. Black is not reading correctly. I immediately play this way, and then I get a ladder. I don't care about the two stones. I will let you take the two stones for me to capture and attack the top side. And if you come back in and fix, then I'm happy to take a large point on the side. I think this is similar, but now the ladder doesn't work, so it's a great crosscut. But ooh, this is getting tougher for white man answered. Probably a good idea is to make this exchange. I believe we have the ladder, so we should be fine here. And if we take, the opponent, weakens their corner, right? So they're likely to answer, and then you extend. So now black either has to jump or take the stone. If they take the stone, they're giving you a way to cut through. So it's likely we can do this immediately and then block. If here, it leaves more Aji, so we are able to make our own ladder here. This left side group could probably be in trouble. There's some shenanigans here with black playing something like this, so we need to be careful. But that is what happens when we play with shapes like this. Unfortunately, we probably need to play here. If the opponent plays similar... If the opponent pushes through, we can cut. There's nothing black can do except for keep the same amount of liberties and try to capture the stone, which it looks like they can do. So maybe we can't do that. In that case, we shouldn't have tried to hane here. It looks like they can continue doing that, so the Kosumi is paying off in this position, which is nice. In that case, we cannot play that when we had to play here to stabilize our position. You can also make this exchange and then play here. Probably just take as well, and then force black to play here, but we definitely missed an opportunity by not playing the Atari first. And so we squeezed, but black is more or less connected, and white's the one with the floating group. I do like this, although I personally would want to play either here or here. And the reason I want to do this is because I want to split the top and center group immediately. I think in this position, white should look to actually pincer. Normally, this stone gets to slide, but like in this particular position, you get half an eye here and it's all in Gote, and you're reinforcing the corner that you could have invaded. So this position is only making it harder for black to uh, attack any group, but also you're giving white an opportunity to come back in this game. I do think this position is favorable for white though. All right, so we do get to pincer, which is good. This is a good tactic by white. One thing we can do as black is we don't actually have to play beneath. If the opponent wants to play on the second line, we allow them to. We just connect on the outside. Right? They can take the points while we get the influence. These two groups are not healthy. Like this, white is gaining a very large advantage. So now we need to figure out how we're going to use the two stones. I think two space is going to be bigger. You could try something like this, but this is a very difficult position for black. White does have some issues. So in a position like this where black doesn't have a clear way of two eyes, what you want to do is look at your weaknesses. So we have a weakness here between these two groups. These two groups are weaknesses, and then there's a cut between these ones. So one thing we can consider is playing here to protect. We can also play here to protect. We can even jump into the center or play like a knight's move. This jumping is going to be good. If we don't care about the three stones here, we can play a knight's move or we can attach. So considering this, I think we can probably play a better move that's a little bit more threatening. So like here is going to be very large. Black needs to figure out where they're going to run. The weakness that's closest to them is no longer working. If we jump here, it does mean that black can look to push and cut immediately type of thing. So I think this is most appealing to me is to play something like this and force the opponent to start running in the center, and then we can run too. In the game, black immediately goes for the weakness. Oh, we can't. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. Why not play here? So if we cut, we run into this issue, and black gets the stones, which isn't good. So in that case, we could have played here directly, and then there's no net. Whereas here, if we extend down, black has a really nice net. Usually taking is going to be better. Even if we don't get to connect underneath, there's Aji here, but if the opponent plays like this, I guess it's difficult, but we don't have to worry. Locally, white's in trouble, so even if they were to play like this, we can live. But here, like, there's absolutely no way. There's no way to consider connecting up after white plays like this. So if we just take and white tries to take away the eye, we can still play this way. Where white plays here, now we successfully can make almost two eyes. We can make 1.5 eyes. This wouldn't necessarily work at this point anymore, but we get to play the Atari and cut through. So we do potentially get a Hane. That's a little bit more forcing. So we play in the corner. This is good. We're making two eyes. I would play this. Our opponent is not fully alive here. But the minute you play this, they're alive. So black living is very good. White got a relatively sized corner that's troublesome. But also, if we consider this position, black is surrounding this corner, and no one's doing anything. The position is settled here. There's a lot of fighting that went on. I think it's time we consider what we can do here. Probably something like this. You can sort of make a code, you can connect. Dropping down is probably the biggest move we can do. We're threatening to cut white. If white plays here, then we can continue to threaten to cut white type of thing. So white would need to come back and fix. Yeah, white needs to play here. If white bumps, we're getting this position, which we can still cut through. So if white tries to save the one stone like this, we can block, they need to connect, and then we can make two eyes. Right? There's a lot of Aji when we're able to connect under. And the worst case scenario is like if there is absolutely nothing, we can still play the this attach and then connect under. It doesn't guarantee that white dies, but it does mean that we reduce uh, we reduce the points in the corner, which is very big. Okay, so black continues to gain. I think white is kind of left with no points, and it's a very difficult game. White had a chance, in my opinion, to play something like this and attack black on a large scale. When black kind of broke the left side and uh, kind of connects with this group here, we're in a position where we need to keep our large points while attacking. So this is probably the turning point of the game where um, we're in trouble if we don't play correctly. I can even do an estimate here. Black is winning, and I think black just continues winning after living here. Okay, last game. It's fairly normal. I don't know if I'd want to split this low. I'd rather play high. So normally the follow up is, say your opponent tanukis, then you get to go from high to low, and it's a very advantageous position for white because now you're faster into the center, and you can still attack, right? Whereas if your opponent continues playing this, you can still even play this and continue running. You can also play relatively slow but sturdy in the center. Kosumis are very nice. If the opponent continues like this, you can just lean on the group and then play a large move elsewhere. Whereas this one, you can only jump, but then your opponent can either take your base or continue attacking you. And you've spent 3 moves to go into the center, or 2 moves to go into the center when you already had 1 from before. Tanuking is fine. I would consider playing this. So now if the opponent pushes, I can play here and then extend again, or even not even worry about the Hane, but like this. If they play this one, we can still continue here. The Hane connect is very large in this particular case because white is trying to attack the wall, but attacking the wall is not good, especially this early in the game. Now these 2 stones are, I don't want to touch them at all. I want to play a large move and force my opponent to attack them, but they can just continue to swallow the group in a large way. They can also just play a large move at the same time. But now the 2 stones are our problem, which is tough to handle. Black played away, which gives white a lot of outside stones. Probably don't need to add a stone anymore. I think at this point you can continue to Tanuki. Ooh. The Atari is not great. But this sequence is not good either. You should play here. And if you're worried about something like this, we can connect, right? If the opponent connects, we can just take, and we can give up the corner, and the corner's fine. Black doesn't really gain much by taking the corner points, whereas he wants the outside, but we connect up, so we're fine, and then there's cutting points, so black needs to fix the shape somehow. Whereas here, you're giving up the... Oh, this is much worse. I mean, you have to save the stones, but, like, I don't want to play this way. We should have played this. If the opponent continues like this is fine. Like, you can actually fight this, because black has this cutting point, which is huge. At some point, like, after this, you can just play here. You can also play it here, because if they take this, you can do a double Atari, which is huge. And the black corner's in trouble, right? But don't give a stone for... Just don't lose your stones. That's really bad. Black fakes, which is fine. We can still just cut directly. So you didn't actually fix. You played a jump, but we can still be cut in Atari, right? So you have to play this way, but this group is not fully alive. You still have to fix to stop white from taking stones. This is almost a huge mess. We can play here, but we're not killing white at all. So we run into this position where we can live locally, but now we run into the issue where white is also alive here too. Potentially white just takes the stones and you're left to deal with these. And this position, I think white gains a lot. So probably need to fix some other way. Obviously, this is something that we could have played too. It's probably just here. When the opponent jumps, we can jump. Or we don't even have to worry about the stones immediately. We can play this way. Probably turn. But then the opponent gets this. If you play here, I think white just plays this. Now the question is, do you care about two stones? If you do, you'll jump. And locally, you're half alive. Yeah, it's troublesome. This is what happens when we play this way. So Tiger's Mouth is actually going to be your best bet, even though when they push through in Atari, you'd have to play this way. But at least when we run, we have a peep. Giving up the two stones means white's almost alive. Almost. I think covering is going to be huge. They have to play here, or you can force the opponent to run. So the opponent might think that they're alive, but we can go ahead and take away the base. So now the only way that they can run is through here. And as long as our group is alive on the right side, we should be fine. There is some Aji, but we should not die. We protected. This is a good opportunity to play here. And then you can push the white group and then surround the one stone. G16 is an overplay. We really need to add a move here. Black is now alive on this side, and we're not fully alive. Okay, so white gets to do something. White's alive now, which is nice. I probably would have played this one. Now if the opponent takes, we're alive here. So we don't need to fully surround a living group. Once we've gotten these, well, I guess white can just connect. They're also technically alive, but getting the Hane here is going to be huge. So we can go ahead and play a move that enhances our left side here. Whereas here, we've supported our living group, but we're not fully surrounding the white group that's fully alive. So we're going to spend a move later in the game to block white's direction when we could have just done it at the very beginning of the fight. We took a 2 base, 3... Probably now this is more of a direction to play thing. I would probably recommend something like this. So now the opponent has some weakness here. If they play here, we can break the side, right? So if they play on the right side to stop you from reducing them, now I would switch directions to play something like this. And this is a game that I think black can play. We have maybe not all the points, but we have a lot more potential than white does. I like this. This is too good for white. I think white's happy to just take the left side, which is the most important area. I noticed that white played here. We do have the option to, well, I would probably just connect. This is a problem with this move. Like, you already have the two stones. They can run up, they can make a base type of thing. I think we need to play here, and then you can take the side. White kind of owes a move. Later we can do d2 to attack the weakness. There's also, later in the game, we can play something like this, or we can play here, which is sent against the corner, and we can invade the right side. So the right side's also going to be a hot spot later, but I think this move is big. We can also play here. So now we can threaten to go into the corner, say we get all this, and now we can drop the side. In the actual game, we finally got there, but it took us giving white a lot in the corner. And we took 2 base. Black really loves the 2 base. We don't need to save. So when we get cut, if one side is alive, then we don't need to worry about being cut. But if we play in a way where our opponent can do a sacrifice, so what you've done is you've made your group smaller, but then like this becomes a very large attack target. So you're making yourself heavier. Whereas if you played this way, you could extend. The opponent needs to fix, and then you can attack the 3 stones in a much easier way for you, right? The bottom side is large, it's healthy. The 4 stones in the center can handle themselves. White's forced to answer at some point. And then white needs to deal with how are they going to save the 3 stones, essentially. Okay, so white doesn't go for this. By the way, we have the ladder. I think this is just big. We can probably go this one too. So we don't need to give the Panuki. We can just play here directly, right? So if black is forced to connect, and we have this, it's really hard for black to justify this. I think this might actually work. It is absolutely terrifying that this works. Do need to be careful. So in that case, this actually might be correct. It's hard to tell immediately, but you have to do your reading, right? Black completely did that reading. I believe it. And we break into the side. So this is actually a good opportunity. We just play here. And then white needs to live. If white doesn't live, right, say white protects, we play this move, and now white is not alive. So white needs to live, and then we can play this move. It looks like we need to answer, but white's already alive in the corner, right? So we don't need to answer, and we can go ahead and play another move inside, so we're getting 2 free moves on the inside. If the opponent decides to block us, then we connect under. Now we're attacking the 3 stones. We can even jump up. I don't recommend this, simply because white does have this as an alternative to help attack. But we do get to answer this in this case because we're splitting the white group here, which is important. I think for white, instead of pressing like you did, we should just play 05. What we're doing is we're providing a lot. We're not touching the strong group anymore. We're playing out in the center, and we're helping the right side a lot more in this particular case. But I think the attack here is just wrong for white. The Hane's fine, probably double Hane, but This right side is actually very, very large, and we do need to have it move. We also have a stone here that's floating as well. So black gave the right side to white. There is still some Maji, but the opponent responded, so now it's better to just come back and attack the left. Probably want to start with the base from the weakest side. You're giving white the opportunity to actually come back and attack these stones later. But if you play here, white needs to jump out anyways. So you can come back and take away the corner points. I think the game is somewhat still playable. I mean, we still have the turn here when white takes an attach. We also can technically play here as well. So like if white plays passively, we can still come back here and break into the side with a nice move. Your opponent tries to kill you. You have this move. You can also play here, right? Maybe not that one specifically, but we can play here, and as long as we can make some sort of life in the corner, it's going to be big. Like this, white's going on the offensive. This move isn't good. You're allowing black to play this way, and if you connect under, we play this one. If you go up, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. Continuing to go up gives black bad shape because we're already connected here. They play here, we can Hane. Tough. But if we Hane first and then play this one, question is do we have the ladder? We actually have the ladder in this case. Right, so we can't even play the ladder, but we can descend, which is big, but black will connect, and if you connect, then black can play here. So we got some points, but we're living on the second line, which means even if we, do make life, we're giving black extra strength. When probably it's just better to connect, right? The opponent plays like this, and then you can come back and play the same thing after we've lived. Okay, so black played the honey underneath, preparing the ladder, which is good. Probably don't. I would just play here. This is an issue in terms of the shape, but we can play like this. And white has the outside, but they're floating. So white's also still in trouble in this position. So white's the general position here for white is not good at all. In which case, white probably needed to just jump out or attach to the corner to make better shape, right? We played too slow with this move, and we got attacked by it. Go a little bit longer, since I took a little bit more review time on the others. Yeah, this is good by white. Unfortunately, black is losing their stones this way. Probably better to just play this one. We have a lot of inside liberties, so if the opponent plays... I guess if the opponent plays there, they're alive. That's tough. Probably here then. This move doesn't exactly... I don't think that one kills him. Because we can play here. So we need to play one of these to stop them from making two eyes. If like this, then we can play here. Yeah, black got to live. We're alive on the outside. So yeah, we could have taken a much bigger risk. Just go for it. Since we could take the two stones to take it. This is kind of the position where you want to actually extend and then attack. White is in trouble. They're going to have a hard time with this. But white should probably just give up the two stones. Attacking black is really unrealistic. Super unrealistic, honestly. Maybe even something like this. It does give black access to the right side. But we did gain something on the left. But we also lost our corner. So it really depends on what we want from this. At this point, black can actually just play like this. And now the center white group is basically dead. You're going to have a hard time playing with this group. Black can just continue running. Black also has this move for life. It's also possible that black could try just playing here directly. I don't know if this is going to work. It looks like white will be able to secure life this way. But black can also just give up the stones in order to make points in the center. In the actual game, black gets to cut white off, and white's in trouble. Never. So in this case, you're giving your opponent the Hane, but if the opponent can't live with one move after playing a forcing move, you should just take away the most direct way of living, right? And you can play here and you can push, but we need to be careful. Right, white potentially will play this way. Obviously, this isn't working, but it's easier to read that if we play here, my opponent's not living either. You can even play this one where we bamboo, play here. We can continue to fix our shape on the outside, and white's just dead locally inside. We do need to worry about our inside group too. So even if white plays this, there's two eye spots, so we need to play in a way that we can come back and live. Potentially, white just tries to race this, which is definitely a possibility as well. So in this case, if we need to win the race, we probably need to play here. This move is huge. We should 100% play here. If they turn, we play this one. They can't connect, so we cut. If they connect, we cut very, very large. And white should die here. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, but sometimes we need to learn to give up stones. We don't need to save all our stones either. And at this point, we probably didn't need to attack the stones either. So just playing a large move is big. Okay, thank you for joining me. I will see you next week.